Welcome to Everyday Tech Explained. Today, we're going to be talking about robotaxis.
Ooh, fun!
Yeah, specifically Waymo's self-driving service that's
Right.
kind of popping up in more cities.
Yeah.
And we're going to be basing this deep dive on a recent CNET article.
Cool.
So yeah, let's get into it.
So I think what's really cool about this is like this technology that we've been hearing about for years and years is actually like moving beyond the testing phase into like, everyday use.
Exactly, yeah. And the CNET article highlights Waymo's recent expansion into Los Angeles.
Okay.
And get this, no more waitlist.
Wow.
Anyone with a Waymo One app can hail a ride 24/7.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about how big their coverage area already is.
Right.
It's nearly 80 square miles.
Huge, yeah.
Think about like you could call a driverless car in Santa Monica,
Wow.
Beverly Hills, even downtown LA.
Yeah, it's like straight out of a movie or something.
I know, right?
And this move in LA follows a similar rollout in San Francisco earlier this year.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're really trying to make this like commonplace.
Yeah, like as common as any ride-sharing service. It's
Exactly.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
And it goes way beyond LA and San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
Waymo has been like expanding all throughout the US.
Wow.
They recently started service in Austin, Texas,
Okay.
and they're planning to partner with Uber
Oh.
in both Austin and Atlanta by 2025.
So you could order like a Waymo through the Uber app.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow, that would be crazy.
That's going to make it so accessible.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess the question is like, are we actually ready?
Right. Are we ready to trust a car with no driver?
Yeah, especially on freeways.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where things get really interesting.
God.
Because Waymo is already testing autonomous rides on freeways.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
In Phoenix, Arizona. So think about it, a car merging, changing lanes, navigating on and off ramps, all without a person behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a huge leap.
That is a huge leap.
Yeah.
But I mean, there have been reports of accidents, right?
Oh, for sure.
With Waymo vehicles.
Yeah, and I mean, that's got to raise some safety concerns.
Definitely. I mean, public perception is a big hurdle here.
Absolutely.
Like the CNET article I mentioned
Yeah.
talks about a writer
Okay.
who actually uses Waymo pretty regularly in San Francisco.
Interesting.
And they talk about how, like, initially seeing the steering wheel move by itself
Right.
was kind of unsettling.
Yeah, but
Like, we're just programmed to see a human, like, driving the car.
yeah, it's instinct.
Exactly.
For sure.
But then they also talk about how quickly it becomes normal.
Oh, wow. So they got used to it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if, like, in a couple years, we'll all be, like, hopping in these things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like, remember when we first saw smartphones?
I know. It's crazy to think about.
We were, like, blown away, and now we can't live without them.
Right. Exactly.
It's wild.
But, like, with smartphones, it's different, right?
Well, yeah, safety is paramount
Right.
when you're talking about a technology like this.
Exactly.
It's revolutionary.
Yeah.
And, Waymo is really trying to address those concerns.
Okay.
They're publishing these safety reports,
Yeah.
highlighting all their features, and they're working closely with regulators.
So, like the NHTSA.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
They know they need to earn the public's trust.
Right. Because it's a huge responsibility
Totally.
to, like, get this right.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like a balancing act between, pushing these boundaries
Right.
and
Yeah,
making sure people feel safe.
absolutely.
And it's interesting because, Waymo isn't the only player here.
Oh, right.
The article mentions Amazon Zoox,
Oh, yeah!
which is deploying its own robotaxis,
Where are they?
San Francisco and Las Vegas.
Wow. So they're going head-to-head with Waymo in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So they're both kind of competing.
Yeah.
And Zeus's vehicles are like completely different.
Oh, yeah.
They're designed from the ground up for autonomous ride hailing.
Wow.
Like no steering wheels,
What?
no pedals,
No way.
not even a driver's seat.
Oh, my gosh.
It's crazy.
That's like reimagining what a car even is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's also General Motors owned Cruise,
Right, Cruise. Yeah.
which has also faced some challenges.
They have, yeah. They've had some regulatory hurdles
Yeah.
and even some temporary suspensions
Oh, wow.
because of safety concerns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that really just highlights how complex this all is,
Yeah, definitely.
especially in these busy cities.
Right. You've got Waymo expanding aggressively,
Right.
Zoox with their radical new design,
Yeah.
and then Cruise navigating all these regulatory challenges.
It's a really dynamic landscape.
It is.
And it makes you wonder, like, what is the future of transportation going to look like?
Yeah, like are robotaxis going to be the main way we get around?
I don't know.
These are big questions.
Yeah,
It
they
could really change our cities, our economies,
Yeah,
our everyday lives.
absolutely.
But okay, let's take a step back for a second and
Yeah, well-
focus on like the actual experience of riding in one of these cars.
Okay, yeah, let's dive into that.
What's it like?
Well, the CNET article I mentioned earlier actually includes like a first-hand account
Oh yeah.
from a rider who uses Waymo all the time in San Francisco.
Right, I was just thinking about that.
Yes,
It's so
yeah.
cool to hear about someone's actual experience.
I know, it really brings it to life.
Yeah, for sure.
And they talk about how at first, like, seeing the steering wheel move on its own
Right.
was kind of freaky,
I bet.
but also fascinating.
Yeah, like you said before, our brains just aren't used to that yet.
Totally. Yeah, we're so used to a person being in control.
Exactly.
It's wild.
So did the writer eventually get used to it?
They said the apprehension kind of faded pretty quickly, and it just became like any other taxi ride,
Wow.
just without having to make small talk with the driver.
That's amazing. It really makes you wonder, like, will this just be normal in a few years?
I know, right?
Just hop in a driverless car and not even think twice.
Totally.
Okay, so what about the cars themselves?
Yeah.
What kind of cars are in Waymo's fleet?
So right now they're using all-electric Jaguar I-Paces,
Okay.
all outfitted with their self-driving tech.
So they're all electric.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But they're not stopping there.
Really?
They've also partnered with Hyundai
Oh, wow.
to like integrate their technology into the Ioniq 5 SUV.
I read about that. The Ioniq 5 is so nice.
It is. It's a really sharp-looking car. It
Yeah.
seems like a smart move for Waymo
Sure.
to add something like that to their fleet.
Yeah, something a little more spacious.
Yeah.
You know, give people options.
Exactly. Yeah, give people options.
So they'll have like the sleek Jaguar and the roomy SUV.
Right, and it's all driverless.
It's really like the future is happening now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But okay, are these cars actually safe?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that Waymo is very aware of.
Heck yeah.
You know, they've published all these safety reports
Okay.
that detail their testing procedures and how well the technology performs.
Good.
And of course, you know, they're also under the watchful eye of the NHTSA.
Right, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
You know, they set safety standards for all vehicles on U.S. roads.
So there are like layers of oversight
Oh, yeah.
to make sure these robotaxis are being held to the same standards as like regular cars.
Absolutely.
Good.
But as with any new technology,
Right.
there are bound to be some hiccups along the way.
Yeah.
You know, Waymo, Zoox, Cruise, they've all had to deal with some challenges.
It's true. It's like that saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
right.
But when it comes to passenger safety, those broken eggs are like real risks.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't downplay that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's this constant process of like refining and improving.
Totally. Yeah, it's ongoing.
You mentioned Zoox and Cruise.
Yeah.
Do you think that competition is going to push Waymo to innovate even more?
I think so. Yeah, competition usually does that.
Right.
You know, it forces companies to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And with Zoox and Cruise, you know, nipping at their heels,
Right.
Waymo can't just sit back and relax.
Yeah, they've got to keep pushing.
Exactly.
It's like a tech arms race.
Right.
But instead of weapons, they're competing with safety features and user experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's all about who can create the best and safest experience.
Yeah, it's super fascinating to see how this all plays out.
I know.
But I think all this talk about robotaxis brings up a bigger question.
What's that?
Like, what does this technology mean for society as a whole?
That's a great point. You know, the implications are huge.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about potential shifts in employment,
Yeah.
changes in urban planning,
Yeah.
maybe even a whole new way of thinking about transportation.
So like a massive societal shift is on the horizon.
Yeah,
And it's not just about the technology itself.
right.
It's about how we adapt to it
Yeah.
and how we shape its development.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to think about the bigger picture here,
For sure.
both the potential benefits and the challenges.
Absolutely.
And that's actually what we're going to explore in the next segment.
Perfect. I'm excited to dive into that.
Oh.
All right, so we've talked about the technology, the safety concerns, and you know all the companies kind of battling it out in the robotaxi space.
Right, right.
But now I want to like zoom out a little bit
Okay, yeah.
and think about the bigger picture. Like how could this really change things if robotaxis become like the norm?
It's a good question. It's like we're trying to predict the future.
Right.
But I think one of the biggest things to consider is the impact on jobs.
Yeah, what happens to all the professional drivers
Exactly.
when the cars are driving themselves?
Yeah, the transportation industry employs millions of people.
No.
It's kind of unsettling to think about those jobs potentially disappearing.
Yeah, definitely. It's a
Hey.
little scary, to be honest.
But I don't think it's quite as simple as like all those jobs just vanish.
Okay,
You know, while some traditional driving jobs might decline,
right.
I think new opportunities are probably going to pop up in other areas.
Like what?
Yeah.
What kind of new jobs could we see?
Well, think about the whole ecosystem around robotaxis.
Right?
You're going to need people to develop and maintain the software design and build the vehicles,
Okay.
manage these huge fleets of cars,
Yeah.
oversee the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So this could actually lead to more demand for engineers, technicians, data analysts,
Interesting.
even urban planners.
Wow, so it's more of like a transformation of the job market
Exactly.
rather than just complete elimination.
Right. It's about adapting and retraining for the jobs of the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not just jobs, right?
No, you're right.
Robotaxis could also impact the environment.
Absolutely. I mean, most of these fleets are electric, right?
Yeah.
So that's got to be good for reducing emissions.
Right. Less gas-guzzling cars on the road.
Yeah, it has the potential to be a huge win for sustainability.
That's great.
You know, electric vehicles don't have any tailpipe emissions.
Yeah.
And the autonomous systems can be optimized for better fuel efficiency.
That makes sense.
But there are some potential downsides too.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, for one thing, the environmental benefits kind of depend on where the electricity is coming from.
Oh.
You know, if it's all coming from coal-fired power plants,
Right.
then it kind of negates some of the positive impacts.
So it's not just about the cars themselves.
No,
It's about the entire energy infrastructure.
exactly.
Wow, that's something I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah, and there's also the potential for more congestion on the roads.
Oh, how so?
Well, if robotaxis become like super common and really affordable,
Okay.
people might start using them for even short trips.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that means more cars on the road.
Right, even if they are electric. So it's like a complicated equation
It is.
with a lot of different factors to consider.
Yeah, it's not a simple solution.
And it seems like a lot depends on how we manage this whole transition
For sure.
and how cities adapt to this new technology.
Absolutely. You know, urban planners are going to have to rethink things like traffic flow,
Yeah,
parking infrastructure,
right.
maybe even public transportation systems.
Wow. It's almost like we're designing like a whole new urban landscape.
In a way, yeah.
Uh-huh.
We have to think about how this all fits together.
Exactly. And this brings up another interesting point.
What's that?
Robotaxis could make transportation more accessible for people who can't drive,
That's a great point.
like people with disabilities, older adults.
Right, people who can't afford a car.
Yeah, it could be huge for people who have been kind of left out of traditional transportation options.
Totally. But it also raises questions about equity and accessibility.
Right.
You know, we have to make sure that these services are affordable
Yeah.
and available to everyone.
Absolutely not. Just a select few.
That's exactly.
So it's really not just about the technology itself.
No.
It's about how we use it to create like a better future for everyone.
I said it better myself.
A more equitable future. A more sustainable future.
Right. It's a societal shift as much as a technological one.
And I think like any major societal shift, there will be bumps along the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There will be challenges, debates, adjustments we have to make.
Exactly.
But it's an exciting time.
It is. It's like we're standing on the cusp of something really big.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of Waymo and the rise of robotaxis.
Wow, that went by fast.
I know, right? It's been such a fascinating conversation,
It really has.
and it's definitely given us a lot to think about.
For sure.
So that's it for this episode of Everyday Tech Explained.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for joining us.
It was fun.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on robotaxis? Would you hop in a driverless car? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of tech. Thanks for listening.